My name is Alina. For 30 years, I believed I knew who I was. I believed the woman I called Mom had always been honest with me. I believed my life was ordinary, quiet, predictable. But one envelope destroyed everything. It arrived on a Tuesday morning. No return address, just my name written in shaky handwriting. Inside was a single letter, and one sentence that made my hands start shaking. You deserve to know the truth about your birth. At first, I laughed. I thought it was a prank or some cruel mistake. But then I read the next line. Your mother has been lying to you for 30 years. My heart started pounding. I sat on the edge of my bed, rereading it again and again. The words didn't feel fake. They felt heavy, like they had been waiting a long time to be read. The letter said my real mother had tried to reach me before, that every attempt was blocked, that the woman who raised me had made sure I would never know the truth. I felt sick, because suddenly so many things made sense. Why I was always treated differently, why my birthday was never celebrated properly, why my family photos never included my infancy, why my mother avoided questions about my birth. I remembered how she used to say, "Some things are better left in the past." Back then, I believed her. Now I knew that sentence was a warning. The letter ended with an address and a name I had never heard before. I stared at it for a long time. My hands were shaking. My chest felt tight. If this was real, then my entire life had been a lie. I didn't confront anyone. Not my mother, not my father, not my relatives. Instead, I did something I had never done before. I searched public records, old hospital archives, local birth registries, and that's when I found something that made my blood go cold. My name was listed, but under a different mother, a woman who died shortly after giving birth. And beside her name was a handwritten note. Child transferred to relative, confidentiality requested. Transferred, like I was an object, like I was property. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every memory replayed differently. Every smile felt fake. Every "I love you" felt rehearsed. I finally understood why my childhood always felt borrowed. But what shattered me most was the realization that someone had worked very hard to erase my real story, and whoever did it was still living under the same roof as me. I folded the letter carefully and hid it in my bag, because I knew something now. This wasn't just a secret, it was a betrayal. And before I confronted anyone, I needed proof. Real proof. Because once I opened my mouth, there would be no going back. And in part 2, I discover who actually wrote that letter and why my mother panicked the moment I mentioned a single name. She said next changed everything. I didn't confront her right away. After reading that letter, my hands were shaking, not from anger, but from disbelief. 30 years. 30 years of lies wrapped in love. I read it again slowly. The handwriting was shaky, emotional, desperate. The woman who wrote it said she had been forced to give me up, that my mother had promised to take care of everything, that she was told I would grow up knowing the truth. But I never did. That night, I barely slept. Every memory started replaying differently. The way my mother avoided certain questions, the way she panicked whenever I asked about my birth, the way she always shut down conversations with, "Some things are better left buried." The next morning, I did something I had never done before. I searched for my birth records. What I found made my stomach drop. My birth certificate had amendments, dates overwritten, names altered. Someone had legally rewritten my identity, and that someone had power. I went to the local records office pretending I was just curious about genealogy. The clerk hesitated when she pulled up my file. She looked at me, then at the screen, then back at me. "You know this file was sealed, right?" Sealed. That word echoed in my head. She lowered her voice and said, "Only immediate family or a legal guardian could have requested this level of restriction." My chest tightened. That meant my mother didn't just hide the truth, she worked to erase it. I walked out shaking, my head spinning. All those years when she said, "I did everything for you, all I ever wanted was to protect you," you wouldn't understand. It wasn't protection, it was control. That evening, I confronted her. I didn't yell, I didn't accuse. I placed the letter on the table. Her face drained of color. She didn't ask where I got it. She didn't deny it. She whispered, "You weren't supposed to find that." That sentence told me everything. I asked her one simple question. Why? She sat down slowly, like her body suddenly gave up. Then she said something I will never forget. "Because if you knew who your real mother was, you would have left me." Silence filled the room. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it in my ears. I asked her if she was alive. She nodded, and then she said the words that changed everything. "She's been looking for you." My knees almost gave out. 30 years of lies, 30 years of pretending, 30 years of stolen truth. And now a door had opened. But what waited behind it wasn't just answers. It was a past my mother had fought desperately to keep buried. And the next step I took would expose more than just a secret. It would expose a betrayal that went deeper than I ever imagined. Because when I finally decided to meet the woman who gave birth to me, I discovered she hadn't been silent. She had been silenced. And what she told me next would destroy the image of my family. I didn't confront her right away. After reading the letter, I needed time, not to calm down, but to understand how deep the lie really went. For 30 years, I believed my life started the day my mother brought me home. But the truth was, I had been taken from someone else. Not stolen in the dramatic way movies show, but erased, quietly. The letter explained everything. My biological mother had been young, unmarried, pressured by her family. She worked in the same town where my mother volunteered. When she gave birth, she was told I'd be placed with a temporary guardian. That guardian became my permanent reality. The papers were altered, names adjusted, dates shifted, and everyone agreed to stay silent. I wasn't adopted. I was reassigned. What hurt most wasn't the lie itself, it was how long it lasted. Every birthday, every family photo, every time I was told, "You should be grateful." Grateful for a life built on omission. I started digging, quietly. I searched records, old hospital archives, church documents, anything that still existed from 30 years ago. It took weeks. Then, one night, I found a name. A woman who had tried to contact me years ago, but her letters were returned, marked address unknown. My hand shook as I read the file. She never stopped looking for me. She had written every year, every birthday, every holiday, and none of them reached me. That's when the anger came. Not loud, not explosive, cold, controlled. Because now I understood something very clearly. My mother didn't just lie, she maintained the lie, protected it, benefited from it. She raised me like a possession, not a person. I confronted her the next morning. I didn't accuse, I didn't yell. I simply placed the letter on the table. Her face changed instantly. Not confusion, not surprise, fear. She whispered my name like it hurt to say. "You weren't supposed to find that." That sentence told me everything. I asked her one question. "Why didn't you ever tell me the truth?" She sat down slowly. And then she said something that still echoes in my head. "You were happy. I didn't want to lose you." Lose me. as if I belonged to her, as if my identity was something she owned. I told her I had found my biological mother's name. Her hands started shaking. She begged me not to reach out. She said it would destroy the family. That word again. Family. The same word used to justify every lie. But this time, I didn't argue. I just said, I deserve to know who I am. That night, I sent one message. A simple one. Hi, my name is blank. I think I might be your daughter. I stared at the screen for hours. Then a reply came. Just 3 words. I've been waiting. And that's when everything truly changed. Because what she told me next, about the deal that was made, about the money, and about who really decided my future, is something my mother never expected to be exposed. And part 4 is when the truth finally comes out, publicly. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was angry anymore, but because everything finally made sense. The letter wasn't just a confession, it was a map, a quiet explanation of years that never added up. I reread my mother's handwriting again and again. She wrote that when I was born, my biological father wasn't the man who raised me. He had left before I ever took my first breath. And when he came back years later, it wasn't to be a father, it was to take something. Money. He threatened to expose the truth, to tell everyone, to break the family apart. So my mother made a deal. She would raise me quietly, keep me close, keep me dependent, and never let me ask questions. That's why I was always protected. That's why I was never encouraged to leave. That's why my independence scared them. I wasn't being loved, I was being managed. The letter ended with a sentence that shook me. I thought hiding the truth would keep you safe, but all it did was steal your life. For the first time, I didn't feel rage. I felt clarity. The next morning, I didn't confront anyone. I didn't cry. I didn't accuse. I made appointments. I requested records, birth documents, legal files. And then something unexpected happened. A name appeared, a trust that had been created quietly, decades ago, in my name. My biological father had left money behind, not as an apology, not as a gesture, but as responsibility, and no one had ever told me. The trust had been sitting untouched, growing, waiting. The people who raised me never claimed it, never mentioned it, never wanted me to know. Because once I did, I wouldn't need them anymore. That's when I understood the truth. They didn't hide my past to protect me. They hid it to control me. A week later, I asked for a family meeting. They thought I was coming to talk, to cry, to forgive. Instead, I placed the documents on the table. No yelling, no drama, just facts. The room went silent. My mother couldn't look at me. My father's hand shook. No one spoke. I said calmly, I know everything now. No anger, no tears, just truth. I'm not here to blame you. I'm here to tell you I finally know who I am. They tried to explain, tried to justify, tried to say they were afraid. But fear doesn't excuse erasing someone's life. I stood up, and for the first time, I didn't ask for approval. I didn't wait for permission. I said, I forgive you, but I'm done living small to make you comfortable. I walked out, not in anger, in peace. Weeks later, my life looked different. Quiet, stable, free. The trust was transferred. My name finally stood on something that belonged to me. But the real freedom wasn't money. It was clarity. I stopped explaining myself, stopped shrinking, stopped carrying secrets that were never mine. And something strange happened. They started calling, not to control me, not to guide me, but to reconnect. I didn't rush back. I took my time. because healing doesn't happen on their timeline. It happens when you finally choose yourself. If you're watching this and you've ever felt like your life didn't belong to you, if you've ever felt like parts of your story were missing, maybe this message found you for a reason. Sometimes the truth hurts, but sometimes it's the only thing that finally sets you free.